In the tech world, some races are sprints, and some are marathons. But the race to build China's next-gen AI chips, well, that's an all-out war. It's being fought with silicon, with brilliant strategies, and with just staggering amounts of cash. So let's break down this high-stakes battle for silicon supremacy.
Okay, let's start with a number. 702 million yuan. That's the revenue a single Chinese GPU startup, More Threads, managed to pull in during just the first 6 months of 2025. For a young company, that is a huge number.
But here's the really mind-blowing part. That single half-year number, it's more than their total revenue from the last 3 years, combined. This isn't just growth, folks, it's an absolute explosion. And it tells you that this market is white-hot and moving at an incredible speed. And you know what? More Threads is just one of the players slamming their foot on the accelerator.
So, if one startup can just blow up like that, it really makes you wonder, right? Who are the other major players, the titans and the dragons, all fighting for a piece of China's AI future? First up, you've got the giant in the room, the one everybody else is trying to catch, Huawei. And you've got to understand, they're not just a chip company, they're an entire technology ecosystem. And their dominance is, well, it's undeniable. Huawei's Ascend AI chips are on track to capture a massive 27% of China's entire AI chip market this year alone. That's more than a quarter of the whole pie, putting them way out in front of everybody else. So how do they pull this off? You could almost call it an unfair advantage. They control the entire technology stack. Think about it, from communications, to the phone in your hand, to the servers in a data center, all the way to the cloud platforms running on top. This creates a guaranteed, built-in market for their own chips that a startup just can't compete with. And this quote from their chairman, Xiao Jijun, tells you everything. He's openly admitting it. He's saying, yeah, because of sanctions, our individual chips can't quite match what NVIDIA makes. But, and this is the key to their whole strategy, they make up for it with sheer numbers. They connect thousands and thousands of their chips into these massive supercomputers that, when working together, can compete with anyone in the world. And that strategy shows up in their chip design. Huawei focuses on ASICs. Think of these as highly specialized tools, not a Swiss Army knife. They're custom built to be incredibly efficient at very specific jobs inside Huawei's own ecosystem. It's a totally different approach from the general-purpose GPUs others are making, which are designed to be more flexible. It's a focused, powerful strategy that just keeps feeding back into their own dominance.
Okay, so if Huawei's story is all about dominance, our next company, Cambricon, is the complete opposite. This is a dramatic comeback story, a true tale of survival and resurgence. Just look at this timeline. It's a total roller coaster. They start out flying high, partnering with Huawei, then disaster. In 2019, Huawei drops them. They have to go public just to keep the lights on. Then, if that wasn't enough, they get hit with US sanctions in 2022. You'd think they'd be toast, right? But somehow, against all odds, by 2025, they're not just surviving, they're profitable.
And just how profitable are we talking? Get this, a 4,347% year-on-year revenue growth in the first half of 2025. That is just staggering. It's not a turnaround, it's a meteoric rise from the ashes. So how did they pull it off? They made a brilliant three-step pivot. First, they stopped just licensing their technology to others. Second, they started selling their own physical chips and entire computing systems. And third, they went after big, stable enterprise clients who needed their hardware. In short, they completely transformed themselves from a supplier into a direct competitor to their old customer.
Now, beyond these two big players, there's a new generation rising up. So let's meet a trio of super ambitious, well-funded startups that people are calling the GPU dragons.
What's really interesting here is that each of these dragons is taking a completely different approach. You have Enflame Tech, which has tied its fortunes to the internet giant Tencent, making specialized ASICs just for them. Then you have Biren Technology. They're making general-purpose GPUs, but their main strategy is an aggressive fundraising and talent poaching blitz. And finally, there's Muxi Threads, the one we started with, also building general-purpose GPUs, but focusing on deep in-house technical expertise with backing from major VCs like Sequoia. 3 very different bets on how to win this race.
Let's just zero in on Biren's strategy for a second, because it is incredibly aggressive. They call it a capital blitzkrieg. After raising a record-breaking 4.7 billion yuan, they used that war chest to essentially go on a shopping spree for talent, poaching top engineers from global giants like NVIDIA and AMD to jumpstart their development. It's a classic high-risk, high-reward, go big or go home approach.
So, you've got the ecosystem titan, you've got the comeback kid, and you have a pack of hungry dragons. What does this all mean for the future of this race?
Well, it signals a huge shift in the entire industry. You see, the early days were all about survival. The main question was just, hey, can we even make a chip that works? Now, the market has matured. The question is no longer, can it be used? The question is, how well can it be used? It's all about performance.
So we're left with this fascinating clash of strategies. You've got the Titan's closed ecosystem, the Survivor's incredible pivot, and the Dragon's cash-fueled sprint to the top. As the race shifts from just existing to actually outperforming, the multi-billion-dollar question isn't just who's going to win, but whether any of these domestic champions can truly close the gap with the global leaders.